Welcome to this spring-inspired art journaling tutorial for stress relief, where I will be making this piece. I use the term tutorial loosely because the art tools and techniques I use are so simple that they require very little explanation. All of the art journaling ideas I share on this channel are designed to be relaxing by not requiring any artistic skill whatsoever and by minimizing the decisions you'll need to make along the way. My hope is that by sharing my own art journaling play with you, it will inspire you to pause and create alongside me, either following along with what I do or using my approach as inspiration and doing your own thing as you create. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Stephanie Hahn, and I help busy people de-stress through easy and enjoyable practices like yoga nidra and art journaling. The spring inspiration for today's page shows up in the colors and imagery that I use, but really you could make this piece at any time of year. Originally, I had planned this to be a 10-day challenge where I created the background one day and then doodled in one section a day for 9 days. But it turned out that the doodling in small sections like that went faster than I expected, so now I've put all of the content into this one video. If you have the time, you might create this whole piece in one sitting like I did, or you might work away at it over a few days. I quite like the idea of doing something creative every day, even if it is for just a few minutes. It spreads the relaxation out and keeps my creative juices flowing. Let's dive into working on the page now. I'm just going to introduce you to the materials that we'll be using. So a page in your art journal, or it could be a standalone page, but something that will be sturdy enough and suitable for use with watercolor. Then we're going to have watercolor paints, anything you have. Because I'm doing spring inspired, I'll be using greens and yellows mostly, I think. But this is just a little travel palette of watercolor paint that I will be using, as well as a black permanent pen of some kind. This is a watercolor travel brush, but you could use just any kind of watercolor brush in a little jar of water separately. I've got some washi tape to divide the page, and then I have a napkin to just dab off and control the water when I'm painting with the brush. So for this one, I am going to start with the washi tape. I'm going to divide up my page. I'm going to first make like a frame. I'm not going to worry about being too precise. I'm just creating sections. So first, creating a frame. And then I'm going to divide this section up into 9 sections. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. But I don't want to have just an even grid. You could do that if you like, but I'm going to make mine a little bit wonky and random. So I'm going to make my lines a bit unexpected so that my 9 sections are going to be different sizes. Little doggy hair there. Doggy hairs follow me everywhere. I'm visiting my daughter in New Zealand right now, and the doggies aren't with me, and the hair has come from home on my supplies. All right, so this is divided my page into the 9 segments. I'm just going to run my finger along and make sure that the tape is stuck down. I'm using washi tape because it's not permanent, and then I'll be lifting this later. This is just going to help the watercolor paints stay in a contained area. Looks kind of neat. So I'm done with the washi tape. I'm going to take my watercolor brush now and pull up some green, some yellow. I'm just going to color in randomly. Probably should stick with one color. Yeah, I'm going to stick with just my green, my pale green first. You can see I'm going to use all the greens and yellows in this palette. All right, I'm going to clean that a bit so that I can go into this yellow cleaner. I'm working quickly so that these colors are going to blend on my page. I'm going to take them right to the edge of each section. It won't matter if I go over. Oh, I see I missed that one. Come back in a minute. Yeah. Working quickly and relaxing my body, remembering this is supposed to be fun. Now I'm going to get this darker gold. And then finally going in with this darker green. Okay, I think I'm going to go back with a little bit more of the bright yellow. Bright green, maybe. Try not to overthink it. Just get it on the page. And then you leave this to dry and come back at your next sitting. If you're doing it day by day, just a little bit at a time, you'll come back tomorrow. It'll be nice and dry, and we'll remove the washi tape, or you could come back later today. That's up to you. So yesterday we prepped the page with the watercolors. First step today is to remove the washi tape now that the watercolor is dry. And you see how this gives us the 9 separate sections that we'll work on. And I've used yellows and greens because I'm doing spring inspired. All right, so I'm going to be doing repeating patterns that are relaxing. I only make the decision once. I'm going to turn it sideways. I'm going to make the decision once for each section what my pattern is, and then I can just surrender. I'm going to start in this top section here, and I'm going to do spirals. Varying the sizes. Allowing my body to be relaxed. Checking in with my neck and shoulders, jaw. Releasing any tension there as I work. letting my mind be quiet so that I can deeply relax as I work, surrendering to the repetitive flow as I draw, trying not to think about what I'm doing, just go with the flow. Just continuing with the pattern, filling up all the spaces. Till it's done. So given that this is a fairly busy section, I'm trying not to overthink this, but it's a little tricky to not think about it at all. I'm going to do a fairly busy pattern over in this section just to balance it out. It's spring inspired, so I'm going to do rainbow inspired pattern here. Just 3 bumps. Not actually sure if rainbows are more common in the spring or not. We associate them with rain, and I suppose it rains a lot in the spring. So I'm going to carry this pattern on, doing 3 bumps in the valleys of each of these bumps. And I'm playing, not trying to be precise or symmetrical. And doing it again in the valleys. 3 bumps. Checking in again. I noticed the tension creeping back into my neck and shoulders, so I've just softened there, trying to keep my hand relaxed. Noticing that I've run my hand through the ink before it was dry and I've made a smudge. This is just perfect for practicing releasing those perfectionist tendencies that I have and seem to be common in our modern culture. It's what makes art journaling such a perfect practice for play, because we're not making something high stakes that needs to turn out a certain way to be hung on a wall in a frame. We're just making something for our own eyes. When I'm done, I'll close the book. This is great practice for accepting what is, little quote imperfections in my art journal prepare me for the imperfections in life, those things we can't control, which inevitably come up. Not sure if you can hear it. There's some birds singing, and there's kids in the yard next door playing. My kids are grown now, but I quite enjoy the sound of kids playing. It fills my heart with joy. Well, there was a little bit of crying going on. That, of course, happens too. So you'll notice on this one, I'm even letting myself go a little bit past the edge of the painted square. Whatever feels good for you. All right, and then let's do one more square. I'm going to do this one here, and I'm going to draw egg shapes. It's almost Easter. Well, Easter will be this month. The eggs can be different sizes and shapes and going in different directions. See some of them going off the page. Maybe leave it like that. Put one more here, maybe. Then I'm going to go make these speckled eggs. So I'm going to just draw little black spots. Again, no particular pattern, just random. Maybe different size spots, some of them going off the edge of the egg. So I should have mentioned earlier, you might be following along and do the same patterns that I do in your sections, but you might also have an impulse to do a different pattern. So feel free to just take this time to play in your own way and customize, where you put your design and even what the design is. I would just recommend that you choose something very simple, shapes that are easy, relaxing to make. So I'm doing this challenge to help you actually pause, take the time to do fun stuff like this. I hope I'm not the only one who has aspirations of doing things and then struggles to get to actually doing them. I collect a lot of art supplies and dream about a lot of things, but the real magic lies in taking action and doing the thing. So filming this for you is helping motivate me to pause and actually do it, and I hope watching encourages you to actually get out some supplies, simple supplies, and take even a few minutes to play in an unstructured, free-flowing way. So you may be noticing already, depending on the pattern you choose, different patterns take different amounts of time. And of course, the size of the section will also influence how long a particular section will take. This pen is starting to act up a bit. I think I'm going to look for another one. Okay, I'm going to try this one. This one's different. It's more of a felt tip. It's doing the job, but it feels different. So again, like, it's fun to play with whatever art supplies you have. They don't need to be expensive. It can be expensive if that's what you like, but I find sometimes that the less expensive art supplies help me relax more. Low stakes. There's no worry about if I'm wasting. All right, so that is a third square done. I'll go in this square here. I'm going to do just random wavy lines. My thought is sort of loosely inspired by water, but could also be like how the side of a beautiful layered rock looks. It also kind of looks like those heart monitors And I think I'll add vertical line details. Just little strokes down. Relaxing my jaw, hand, my shoulders, neck, belly. So I think at first I'm going to try doing that every other and then see what I think. I'm going to be doing a different pattern in each of the 9 squares. If you have a particular pattern you really love, maybe you repeat the same one in all 9 squares. Or maybe you do it 3 different patterns in 3 squares each. If you struggle with making decisions, though, I would just follow along with what I do and make your life easy. All right, I think I'm going to leave that one. And because that was a fairly simple pattern and the square was small, we did that one quite quickly. And this square I'll do little, just tiny pattern of tiny little dots. These are going to symbolize for me little seeds. So we're just scattering the seeds of spring. You can make these little circles. I'm kind of making them a little bit elongated, almost like a sesame seed, but and they don't have to all face the same way. Don't have to be the same size. You can decide how full you want this to be based on the time that you have today or on what looks visually appealing to you. Okay, so I have an idea for one that is a little bit more like drawing, but it's simple shapes. So again, spring inspired, I'm going to do little tulips. Just a little half circle and then 3 points. Differing heights. Then I'm going to draw curvy stems. This is more realistic than I usually do. It's less just abstract patterning, but I felt inspired by the spring. I'm going to draw some leaves. Maybe I'll do one more here. Do a little pattern of spiky grass. All right. So let's do like lily pads here. So we'll do most of a circle and then a little cut in. And then from that point, I'm going to do lines out to the edge. Again, differing sizes, cut out lines from that point out to the edge. On this one, I'm going to do some dots in between. This side, again inspired by spring, do raindrops. Sizes, random placement. And then for the last one, let's do a tree branch, smaller branches going off the sides. And then tiny leaf buds. I don't know if this is accurate to the way things grow in nature. I highly doubt that it is. So consider this an abstract representation of new growth in spring. This one I'm going to give some grass as well. So there you have it. My completed spring inspired art journaling challenge to relieve stress in little bursts of creativity. Hope you enjoyed it. May our paths cross again very soon. Thank you for spending this time with me.